I just found something that I was passionate about. I love building businesses. If people have to wait on you, that means something's not getting done. I think that's the first thing to do and the most important thing to do. It's like getting those things documented. Can it be delegated to AI? Yes. Does it need the human experience? No, right? If it needs the human experience, that's when I delegate it to a virtual assistant.
Hi everyone, welcome to Startup Scaleup People podcast, a place where you can learn how people build their dreams, their businesses, their lives. Mario Rivas, as you know, I work in business integration and automation, and also I have a startup and a few businesses. I'm very excited for this conversation today because I'm with Cory Blumenfeld, and he's a serial entrepreneur with multiple companies. He has done, I think, 2 exits. He has raised more than 3 million, for example, for Caribou. Also, he raised for Co-Health as well. More than 50,000 or 60,000 followers on LinkedIn, and now he's building a new business. Obviously, I will leave this question for later. So, welcome, Cory.
Thanks for having me here, Mario. Excited to chat with you and your audience. I like to start and end every call with a fist bump, so boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Well, thank you, Cory, for joining the podcast. You're a very good profile, actually. I think because you are from Canada, you have built many businesses, and you said, actually living in Mexico, so doing things in everywhere, building global businesses, right? So to start the conversation, I don't know if I got it right or not. I was doing a little bit of research about yourself, and I saw that you get into industries where you have zero experience or just a bit of experience. Is that right?
Where I have, like, for all the businesses I've started, I'd say I've come in with zero experience, right? The first business that I had, it was in university. We repaired people's driveways. I had no idea how to repair a person's driveway. I saw some people doing it, and I went to my friend. I'm like, we can learn how to do this. Watch some YouTube videos, taught ourselves how to repair driveways. The next business, I had no tech background. I was in school. I thought I was going to be a doctor. That didn't turn out. School was not my friend. But my last year I took a course in entrepreneurship, and it really resonated with me. Like, it's just being creative and building stuff. I didn't think that was possible without that piece of paper. That's what my parents told me. But I had no tech background, and that first business was a mobile app. Found the team, learned a lot about the tech space, about building a business. I called it my MBA because I learned everything about business from that experience. Next business, focus on the US healthcare system. As I told you, I'm Canadian. We became experts in US health insurance. And, I went into that with very limited knowledge, but everything's available online and you can teach yourself.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, how do you feel so comfortable starting a business when you are not ready? Because some people say, I'm not ready to start a business if I don't have, the knowledge and the background or the expertise.
Yeah, I think about this all the time. Like, is this something I was born with, or is this something that I learned? And it's something I learned, at least for me, right? I found something that I enjoyed, right? Entrepreneurship. I really enjoyed building things. And, you get to this point where you realize I may not know something, but it's out there and I can go learn it, right? So when I first started, I was so nervous. I never wanted to speak. I probably wouldn't even do a podcast back then because I was so nervous. So I relied on other people. I relied on having business partners. I relied on having people support me. It's something I grew into. So, I don't feel like I was born with this ability. I just found something that I was passionate about. I love building businesses. There's nothing else that I see myself doing. But, because it brings me so much joy, I'm willing to deal with the discomfort that comes from building a business.
Amazing. And you had 5 businesses for what I understand so far, and you exited both, two of them, which is Co-Health and Caribou, right? Which were like the biggest lesson from building and exiting these 2 businesses?
That's the great thing about building a business. You learn so much. It'd be hard for me to say what was the biggest, right? Because the first one was my MBA. Like, I knew nothing about business before I was doing Co-Health.
So Co-Health, you exited that one. That was your MBA, we can say, right?
I call it my MBA because, you learn how to manage a team. You learn how to build a product. You learn about business models, like all these things, right? The first business, it was a freemium model, right? we were too scared to charge people at first. You know, I learned that like people pay for value, and you can't be scared to go in and ask people to pay, because if they see value in something, if they see so much value in something, they're going to pay up front, right? Even if it's not built for some time.
That's a very important lesson, like to know how to monetize what you are building. That's the most. It's very important. With that you make revenue, right?
Yeah, you're a founder, right? The other thing I learned is like shiny object syndrome, right? We as founders, we get excited. We see things that, you know, others may not see. So like when you're building a business, I want to do this, and I learned about focus. I learned about communicating with a team. You know, the next business at Caribou, I learned about, you know, having the hard conversations early on. Like, you know, what does partnership look like? How do you set clear roles and responsibilities? How do you align with a team? You know, and for me, my mindset is always, I'm trying to always learn. So I call that first business, a real business I had, my MBA. So you could say, okay, that's the biggest impact. But every single business I've worked on, I'm learning something, and it has a huge impact on me.
And how did those experiences shape who you are today as a founder?
I mean, I am today who I am because of those experiences.
Who you are, right? Because we don't know who you are. Right? I know that people know you are today.
I have more confidence now in myself than ever, and that's because I've been able to put myself out there. I feel like I understand how to mentor people and guide people, because as a founder, one of the things you're doing is you're guiding and mentoring people, right? You can't do everything. That's kind of what I'm offering today with my new business with delegation, right? But I learned how to be a better delegator. I learned that not everything can be me. I learned how to be focused, right? And, you know, I have ADHD. Fun fact, maybe not everyone knew, because you're learning about me here. Like, I'm all over the place sometimes. And so, like, you know, who am I today versus who I was I feel like I'm more focused. I feel like I understand myself better in terms of being able to prioritize, in terms of getting work done, in terms of knowing what to hand off and what to own. I know how to speak to people. I feel better, right? When I was first starting, it's like, I don't even know what to say. Like, how do you carry on a conversation with someone that's older than you, right? So I think that experience, you know, from where I was when I first started, has just grown. And I think experience is very important. There are a few outliers. There are some people that hit it big when they're young and just starting out. But I think for the majority of entrepreneurs, that experience is super meaningful.
It's true. I know that you try to, you know, summarize just two important points, and because I know that you learn so much when you build a business. I was director of operations of big companies, 3,000 people, 8,000 people. And obviously I learned a lot in, you know, basically preparing everything, you know. And it's similar, but it's not the same. When you have your own business, you are accountable for the finance, for the accounting, for the revenue, right? And also to pay the salaries. So all the weight is on your shoulders. That's such a big difference. There's such a big difference because you're the only one probably was thinking, okay, we have to make this to pay the bills and to make it, you know. That's for me, it's like one of the main responsibilities of having a business. Apart from like scaling it and all these beautiful things, it's more about being responsible with people that you're working with, right? It's a big responsibility. And I agree with you as well, with what you have mentioned previously. You always say, if your business can't run without you, it's not a business.
Yeah.
Right? When did you realize that you were the bottleneck of your company and your company couldn't run without you?
No, I mean, like, early on, you see, you know, you were saying this before, right? Like, people in the business rely on you. It's not just you anymore. You have other people. But the thing is, when you bring on other people, it's not just you anymore, right? So you become the bottleneck if everything has to be you. If everything has to go through you, things slow down. And I think, you know, early on, well, I think there's two things here, right? When you have multiple co-founders and multiple business partners, you have to learn how to, one, align with the individuals you're working with, right? Because that becomes the bottleneck. But then the other thing is, when there's one person in control, if they have to be involved in every single decision, you have to wait for things to get done. And we look at how fast things are moving today, especially with tech, with AI, right? If you just slow down for a second, you might miss something, right? So, this has been something that I've learned since my first business. When I wanted to be involved in every single discussion, right? If people have to wait on you, that means something's not getting done, and you can't always be available as a founder. The other thing is, it also shows distrust in the team that you're working with, right? So if you have to be involved in every single decision, you're showing your team you don't trust them, and that is a demotivator for your team. So yeah, I would say I learned it early on in my first business, but I didn't really do much about it until the current business that I'm working on, until I really understood the power of delegation. I was having a call earlier with a client today, and they told me they read one of my articles, and they had told me it just really stood out that when you bring on a team and you allow people to help you grow, you can grow so much faster. But they were not willing to do that before. As soon as they adopted that approach, they started to scale, and they started to scale too fast, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, when you're able to delegate effectively, when you're able to trust the people you're working with, things get done.
Yeah, I agree. That's very true. That happens to me in early my career, because when I was 27 years old, I was already leading a team as a director of operations for my team was 3,000, 4,000 people. But the only way to get there very quickly was in 4 years, I started coaching people to do my job. So I was escalating. And then there was a moment that I was my boss, and I talked with the other boss, my boss is a bottleneck. He's very bad. All of this, I have done it. He's not good. Let's review it. And he said, you're right. He's not good. And they fired him. And then I automated a lot of things. And I reduced the cost by 20%. And then I got promoted. And then I got promoted again for another function, which was even bigger. So it was basically by delegating, building a small army basically to do your job. And that was the way that I managed to scale up basically with my role when I was in corporate back in the days, and it was very, very important for you, Cory. After been doing so many businesses, what do you think that a founder should automate, delegate, or completely eliminate? By the way, just for the audience, we haven't prepared anything. All these questions are plain. Yeah, Cory doesn't know nothing about this. So this is actually, so probably some of the questions are very difficult if he's managing to respond. It's not like other podcasts, that they do the prep, you say the questions and all that. Here it's just, improvising the responses. Yes,
that's what I like. That's where I'm at my best, when I get to improvise.
And please don't forget to subscribe. People always forget. And please subscribe. So, Cory, which are the main tasks that you think that a founder should automate, delegate, or completely eliminate?
Yeah, well, it's something I've been really focused on as a very simple question, right? Does your business run without you, right? That's something that you really need to think about. Does a business run without you? The other thing, if you were to step away for 2 weeks, would things run? Would they run the way you want them to run? So, thinking about, they're practically the same question. Everything needs to be delegated. Technically, everything in your business should be able to be delegated. Okay, so I just want to preface that. There's certain tasks that you delegate right away, but it's if you want to sell your business one day, if you are a founder that's thinking about exiting the business, let's say you want to retire but still maintain ownership in the business and use it as a cash flow generator. That means you need to be able to walk away from 100% of the things that you're doing, right? So in my mind, the way I'm thinking about it is everything I do needs to be delegated. Everything needs to be documented. The instructions need to be there. All the systems need to be built out. But, the more and more I think about it, there is a calculation that folks can do, right? Where you calculate what your hourly rate is, okay? So you take whatever you make in a year, you divide it by the number of hours you work in that year, and you get your hourly rate. Or you can take how much you make in a week or a month, and you divide it by the number of hours in the month. That shows you what your hourly rate is, and then you can look at, okay, anything that's half of that, I should be delegating, right? So if I'm making $30 an hour, I can delegate anything for less than $15, right? So things like email, right? Managing your email, things like calendar management, things like outreach. These are things that can easily be delegated, right? Even client comms can be delegated. So I think about the things that, when I'm thinking about what can be delegated, I'm thinking about what are things that I really need to be owning now. Obviously, client conversations. probably I should be owning. Podcasts, no one can pretend to be me. So I have to take those. But the reality is, the business itself that I'm working on now, Mosso, most of it can be delegated. The actual business part. Yeah, I'm growing it and there's a lot of things that I need to own, but my mindset is that 100% of the business has to be able to be delegated because you know what? If I'm not here tomorrow, I still want it to run. I still want the team to be successful. That means they need to be able to own everything that I do.
And because to do this, you have to hire the right people, right?
Yeah.
That's very important. How founders do you think that can change that mindset? I mean, which are like the first steps to start doing this, like start delegating, apart from hiring the right people, right? Because that's very important.
Yeah, first steps, right? Documentation, right? Like document everything. I know a lot of founders that when you're like, where's the process? They'll say, well, I'm not great with process. Okay, but the thing is, if things are working in your business, you're great at process, right? You've made things work. Obviously, things can be improved, but you're an operator. You've built something that's generating revenue. You're helping clients. The next thing is just get what's up here down on paper. And the great thing with all the AI tools that are out there, like, Claude or Chat, you can just take all that information. You can even just record it using one of those tools. I have a voice dictation tool I love, and you get all your thoughts into a notepad, and then you plug it into Chat or Claude and ask it to format those thoughts into something that's more organized, something that people can understand. But you have to get your thoughts out of your head. I think that's the first thing to do and the most important thing to do. It's like getting those things documented, right? The next thing to do is once you get those documented, train people, spend time with people. Don't expect them to actually know everything right away. Now, if you hire someone because of their experience, sure, you're hiring them because they're there to train you. But if this is a process that you're owning, it's up to you to educate and train people if you want them to be able to do things like you. I think the other thing for business owners is don't expect perfect right away, right? Like a lot of times business owners will say, well, this is how I do things. Yeah, you spend all your life doing that or all of your time doing that. You need to give some folks grace and the ability to learn and the confidence to learn. So it's creating a clear path to ensure that a team member is successful. And I think that a lot of business owners forget that path. They don't set the team up for success.
Yeah, because it's time demanding to do that.
Yeah.
It takes time. It's not an easy one.
Yeah,
do the documentation, but it's the only path to make it happen.
Yeah, but for a lot of business owners.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, in corporate, I did that, I did that very simple diagrams with Visio, just, few boxes, decision making, a path, and then all the business processes basically, but very simple. So people can understand how everything works. But it's time demanding to do that and then training people, right? Because then someone left or leaves is the company, then you have to retrain, do all this again. Yeah. But that's the only way to make it happen. Absolutely right, and glad to hear that. I don't know what you were going to. I don't even know what you were going to say, but Cory, can you explain a little bit what is Blue Mosso and CS Mosso in terms of business? Because now I would like to talk a little bit more about the actual business.
Yeah, Blue Mosso and CS Mosso. CS Mosso is like Blue Mosso's little cousin, but Blue Mosso, we help business owners and founders take back their time. We do that by providing them with the right virtual assistant. Our method is that we make sure that when we provide you with a virtual assistant, it's the right match. We always start with a match. That means the individuals that we're connecting you with, they match based on your skills, your communication style, and your work style. And the skills that you're looking for, which is super important. You might find
what is a
virtual assistant? It's someone that lives on the other side of the world or someone that doesn't live in your geography that you have working with you to take on administrative work or to delegate those tasks that you don't need to be owning. But for me, a virtual assistant can it's a remote worker, right? It's like a catch-all in my mind for someone that works online and is helping support your business.
And so, what do you help the virtual assistant and the boss basically with another side of the glove?
Yeah, this is where we were talking about setting an individual up for success, right? And I think it's on both parties, right? It's setting the founder up for success, setting the virtual assistant up for success, being in the middle, helping document things, helping educate and train the virtual assistant, helping the founder be successful in how they train, how they communicate with a virtual assistant. Then we also help finding the right match. Like, we have an extensive process to make sure the individual that is selected to work with the client is the right fit.
So it's a sort of marketplace as well?
No, it's not a marketplace. We really work closely with the clients. I'd say it's more of a matching platform, not like a marketplace where you go on and go shopping. We actually provide a service where we kind of guide and shortlist the individuals that we think could be a good fit for business owners. So they come to us, they tell us what position they're looking to fill, and we then go into our talent pool. So we have a talent pool, a marketplace, anyone can get onto the marketplace, right? But we have the Blue Mosso talent pool. Everyone's been vetted, they've been assessed. And then what we do is we connect the client to a short list of individuals that fit the skill set, the communication style, the work style, personality that's going to vibe with the client. And then we help support the relationship.
Is this just for virtual assistant or for any other type of
I would say any non-technical roles. You know, we do help people with automations experts, so like people that are looking to use Cloud Code to do like copywriting and work, but more client-facing. And then CS Mosso is pure client-facing. It stands for client success, customer success. So the whole idea behind CS Mosso is we connect you to individuals that can have a client-facing role. So Blue Mosso is more back office, your operations team, people that aren't always speaking to clients, even though some virtual assistants can. CS Mosso is purely for the client experience.
That's why it's customer success Mosso, right?
Yeah, CS Mosso, yeah. And I run that with my friend who's like, you know, one of the top influencers on LinkedIn for client success. No little, he's a good guy.
Nice. How do you see the relationship between AI and virtual assistants evolving? Will AI replace human assistants or make them even more valuable? How do you see that evolution?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I think of AI and virtual assistants, you know, I call it the human in the loop, this role, right? The virtual assistants that we work with, they need to be AI enabled. They need to be ready for using AI because it's changing the way we work. It's making people more efficient. Now, I write about this a lot. There are certain processes that AI should be running, right? And then there are certain processes that need a human, right? If you think about the client experience, my belief is that the client experience is going to become a premium service, right? People want to talk to humans. They don't want to talk to robots. And therefore, that's, you know, CSO Mosso. It solves that problem for the individuals that still want to talk to humans. Now, humans now become more efficient, so we can get a lot more done than we could have gotten done before. So I see this new role being created, and that's what we're setting our virtual assistants up to be, to tap into being that human in the loop, supporting these AI systems that the clients have, helping run them, helping them be the orchestrator. The human still is the orchestrator, right, for a lot of these systems. So, you know, the way I look at it, with these AI systems in place, there's a whole new, you know, line of jobs that are being created. So I think it fits nicely with the virtual assistant, right? They're already working online. How do we make them more efficient? Well, we give them the right tools to do it, and we help them run those tools. We help guide them. We help educate them on how to use these tools. I don't think there's competition, right? I think that, you know, a lot of these tools are really good at doing tasks, right? If you have an individual doing the same task day in, day out, and I've seen this, it gets boring, it gets redundant, it gets repetitive for them. So, you know, enabling the tools to do the repetitive tasks, it's super helpful. Then you have an orchestrator, an individual who's capable of running complex systems, supporting you, and you can get so much more done. And so instead of hiring like a massive team now, I think a lot of companies can get by hiring, outsourcing, and then finding the right individuals that know how to run these systems. So I'm excited because I think there's going to be a lot of growth in this sector.
Nice. Yeah, I think I've been thinking a lot about this, you know, because everything is AI now, everything which is written on LinkedIn and everywhere. And for me, I'm a people person. So for me, I didn't mention it, but I have a business in retail. I have bicycle shops. Right?
Oh, really?
So it's 100% human, basically. and people go to the bicycle shops, they buy the product, they want to hear from you, that's something that e-commerce and AI would not replace, right?
Yeah.
People can say yes, but honestly, someone who wants to invest 12,000 pounds or 15,000 pounds on a very expensive bike, that person wants to see the bike in person.
Yeah.
They want to hear from the expert why this bike is better than the other bike in person, right? So it's something that AI is not going to replace, right? And that's why also like all the experiences now are becoming the luxury. Did you see? I've been reading that a lot of the very rich people, they are not spending much money. They're spending, of course, but not before like very expensive, watch or very expensive, boats. They are more like into luxury experiences, real in life, and becoming healthier and aging better. That's becoming now the new trend. Plus the new the younger generations also, they're not drinking. So there is going to be a lot of change. I think is happening in a good way, basically, to continue with this human connection, which is totally opposite with all this AI revolution. It's going to be quite interesting what's going to happen during the next 15 years. And honestly, every time I use a chatbot, please give me the humor.
Yeah, I agree. I think, no, and it's interesting, outside of it, like, it's something that I think about, right? Like, every time a new technology comes into play, a lot of folks, there's fear for some reason, and the media and we draw fear, right? AI is going to come take our jobs. But in my mind, it's like, AI is going to make you better at your job, right? So buy into it. Don't resist. I think for the individuals that resist these tools, maybe they're not going to be skilled in the new tools that are there, and therefore, they don't have the skills that someone else may have, right? But like, I don't fear a lot of these tools. I don't fear the future. I embrace it. It's exciting. You talked about longevity, wellness and all. Yeah, it's exciting where we're coming on all fronts with technology, with science, with AI, right? And I think that things only get better. And so for me, it's like embrace, adapt, don't fear it.
Yeah, you are in tech. I am in tech. And we think that everyone is using AI. Obviously, I'm in London. I live in London Bridge. All my friends, but a lot of them are like in tech, founders, Startup Scaleup, you name it. But when I start talking with businesses in LATAM, or actually here, SMEs, when I go to to a very nice restaurant, right? I'm very chatty. I speak with the owner. I say, how are you? And I say, how are you doing this? And how are you doing that? And many businesses are not using AI because actually they don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
They are not scared, but they don't know how to do it. They think that's too complicated, which in reality is not. And when I see an opportunity there, basically to help those people. And I think the same that you. What I've been using AI just to be more productive. That's it, and to make me more capable.
Yeah,
I'm getting a little bit dependent though, because it's saving me so much time. But I'm still thinking. I'm still always approving what AI is giving me. Right? I'm always reviewing and checking. So it's the same basically when I was managing a project in consulting, right? Always checking like the PowerPoint or the financial models, and this formula is wrong, this is wrong, make it again. Or this is not, or spectrum for a client. No, change this slide, this is not the message. In the end, it's the same, but just with AI tool, right? And I think that everyone should use it. For me, it's gonna be in 3 years more. Or 5, I don't know how many years. It's going to be like Microsoft Excel. Everyone's going to use it. Everyone have to use it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. They're just tools. We add them to our toolbox. We get better. We get more efficient. So you embrace it. Like I see how, as a business owner, I see how much more I'm capable of. Like I built my website from scratch. I built a couple landing pages. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that before. And now I'm able to really take control of a lot of things and not have to rely on people. But like I'm delegating things to AI, right? And now the question is, delegate to AI, delegate to a human. And that's how I think, right? It's going back to your question, like, is this something that needs to be delegated? Is this just a repetitive task? Can it be delegated to AI? Yes. Does it need the human experience? No. Right? If it needs the human experience, that's when I delegate it to a virtual assistant. Is it a complex multi-step process. Yes. Okay, human, right? I don't delegate the task. I delegate the management of the different tasks to the human. And so, yeah, there's individuals that will say, I'm going to run everything on these AI tools, and that's cool. Like certain processes can be run. But yeah, like you were saying, like, I think the human touch becomes a luxury product going forward. The chatbots are not good enough yet. And still, I want to talk to a human. Like if I'm having a bad day or the product sucks, I want to complain to a human, right? Someone that actually can feel emotion, that feels my emotion, right? And no bot can feel my emotion. And even if there's a bot that's really good at it and I know that I'm talking to a bot, it's like, I don't want that. I want someone to feel my pain.
Yeah, but there's still people that don't think like that. They just prefer to post on Google bad review, 1 star. That's it.
I feel you.
I have that problem in my business sometimes. Like someone write a very bad review, then I say, who talked with this client? Who took action? What happened? I said, no, the client didn't say anything. Yes, he left, and then he wrote a very bad review. It's like, oh, we could have helped him. We could have done something better. Cory, you say that you are on a mission to inspire 1 million people to start their own business. Is that right?
It's changed a little. I want to help people. Like initially, I was helping people, but I've aligned it more with what it is that I'm focused on. My goal now is to focus on helping 1 million business owners take back their time. I think that's super important, right?
Because you claim that you help customers to take back around 1,000 hours a year. Right?
Yeah. If you look, like if you're delegating 2 to 4 hours a day, that's over 1,000 hours a year, right? So I want to show people that it is possible to take back that time. And when you do delegate effectively, that's time you get towards growing the business. That's time you get towards your personal life, right? So there's so much value that's created by getting back that time when you're not focused on, the repetitive tasks or just tasks that you could easily hand off. As a business, you are the most expensive employee. Your time is the most expensive time, right? Even if you're not getting paid like the most expensive employee, your time is the most expensive because you're there and a lot of folks are relying on you. So you need that time to focus on high level things that are growing the business.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was thinking when you were talking. That's what I was saying. No, I agree as well. Yeah, thank you for the comment. About delegation and your vision, your view, and also your mission, the mission that you have right now. And well, we're heading to the end of the episode. I generally record around 40 minutes, 40-ish, so we can create a 35 minutes, episode. That's what we aim. And Cory, before we finish, what would you like to say? Because we generally say big lesson learned, what you would like to, this sort of topics or question I do. But this time I will leave it open to you. What would you like to say to the audience? What would you think first, how you can help them?
Yeah.
Where they can find you, and then a very good advice for the audience. Generally, it's like business people, and I think with that we can.
Yeah. So you can find me at bluemosso.com, LinkedIn, Substack, my podcast, which I'm just starting up. It's called Taking Back My Time or Taking My Time Back. We're working on it, but it's Taking My Time Back. But find me there. And in terms of like where I can help you, like my goal is to help you take back your time. Right? And that means helping you delegate, helping you actually grow your business and making it just a little easier, right? Because building a business is fun. And going back to what my mission was before, I want to see business owners succeed. I think that, at least for me, there's nothing more enjoyable than having a business and growing something, having that ownership. I'd say a couple of things, right? Early on, we talked about just getting started. All the information you need to get started is right in front of you, right? And don't be scared to go and learn things on your own. You don't need to be an expert anymore because you can make yourself an expert pretty quickly. So get started. The other thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't need to be the only person doing something, right? It doesn't have to rely all on you. If you can find the right people to trust, if you can build the right systems in place, it doesn't just have to be you. And then the third piece is be the leader people want to follow. So you've gone started, you've created the systems, you want to delegate, you want those folks to support you. You have to be that leader that they want to follow. you have to make it easy for them. And so I feel like if you do those three things, one, you'll have something tangible. Two, you'll have a business that doesn't rely on you. And three, the reason you'll have those business that doesn't rely on you is because people want to follow you, because people that are allowing you to delegate to them.
Super. Thank you so much for the last comment. I think you are building very unique. I haven't heard so much about this, to be honest, about delegation, about helping, basically owners to scale, because in the end, what's going to happen, they're going to scale the business and they're going to remove all the bottlenecks so they can rely less on people, right? Or on the owner. And thank you so much for joining the podcast, Cory. If you are in London, actually drop me a message. I would love to meet in person. And yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Mario. Really appreciate you having me here, and thank you to all the listeners. And as I told you, we end every call with a fist bump, at least for me. Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.